Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe I didn't quite change the scenes as quick as possible because I realised today that Bibby once again was not full screen, but he's fine now. It's okay. We're all good. How are you all doing? Welcome into twitch.tv/iScreamReports. My name is Graham D. And I'm joined by Bib. I'll read Bib.
Good Morgan.
Guten Morgen.
How are you
Morgen.
doing?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm going to have to get up and do what I did yesterday though, and pull the blind a little bit because the blind is open. But now I have the Nano Leaf on the wall as well behind me. It's like sitting in the sun in this room. I mean, I'm pasty as it is, but right now you can't tell where my white t-shirt stops and my face begins. So, give me 1 second.
Need to go outside, sunshine, and get some sunshine.
I did that yesterday. It's overrated.
You're walking around with an umbrella to make sure that you don't get any kind of sun.
That's pretty much the one. Anyway, if you're in the chat, please feel free to get involved. Good morning. Did you get up to all yesterday afternoon, babe? Watch the foosball?
Yeah, I went to go see my granddad. Obviously, with E3 happening for like the last week or so, I haven't seen him or my nan. So I went and gone and watched the 2 p.m. kickoff with him. My sister turned up, so I beat her up for a bit. And then yesterday evening, played about 2 hours, which I wasn't intending on doing, of House Flipper. Now, if you like them types of games, like there's Pressure Washer Simulator that's out now. If you like any of the simulation games, House Flipper is a time sink that you don't realize it's a time sink. Like there is time sinks out there like, with MMOs and stuff, which can feel a bit tedious after a while. But this 2 hours, genuinely, did like 4 or 5 missions, totted up a few houses, nearly bought one myself, and then next thing I know, it's 11:30 at night, and I'm like, fuck this, I'm going to bed. But yeah, it's definitely worth it.
I've never even seen... I've heard you mention it before, but I've never even seen House Flipper. So if I was looking at it, I wouldn't even know what I was looking at. So
it's addictive. Yeah. It's super addictive.
Yeah, so he's putting nano leaves on the wall because I spent a good 6 days doing that yesterday. Do you know, I don't know if you can see it if I move out of the way. Oh, you can't because there's a box in the way. So I spent my afternoon yesterday putting trunking in to get the lighting hidden and stuff. To the wiring hidden for the Nano Leaf. I say hidden, you can still see it, but it doesn't look as bad as having like a garish wire and stuff on the wall. Thought, yep, definitely going to play some PUBG after this. So after I did the wiring thing, I put the Nano Leaf on the wall going up. I was just saying to Bib, do you know, actually, let me go to different screen. Let's get rid of Bib. Bye, Bib. Cam only. So if I go to this scene, you can see this little care package box. Oh, there we go. There. That's not meant to be there. But that is there because I put the Nano Leaf on the wall, and Nano Leaves are stuck on the wall using little command strips, which is fine until the command strip decides that it doesn't want to come off the wall. It wants to take the wall with it. So, you see that little speck there? Yeah, that is part of the wall missing. Great, there you go. So that stays there until we repaint the wall and stuff. So yeah, that's what I was doing yesterday. I was moving my Nano Leaf, ripping my wall to bits. I was originally going to jump on and play some PUBG because I've not played it for a week. I actually didn't get to jump onto PUBG until about 10:30 last night. By the time I'd finished, like cutting the plastic trunking down, sticking the wiring in, removing everything, sticking the Nano Leaf on, taking the Nano Leaf off, putting it back on, and then I thought, do you know what? Well, I've got all these boxes and wires and bits that I've still not put away, so I managed to like sort all that shit out, and then played like 2 games of PUBG and just went. I say I went to bed. I went and laid in bed and then watched show playing Pokemon for about an hour afterwards. So yeah, there you go.
Did he do any damage?
To be fair, I was that knackered. I don't really know. He was playing. He was all I remember was he was in. It was something I don't even know. What Pokemon game was it? It's not a Graham Pokemon game in the fact that it could have been anywhere between Rose Gold to fucking Sword and Shield. I don't know, but anyway,
was it in a Nuzlocke?
No, it wasn't. So Nuzlocke, I get because that's like him going through and there's this pressure on every moment kind of thing. Whereas he was, I could be completely wrong, but it seemed like to me a modern equivalent of, do you know, like the Elite Four, where you get to like Indigo Plateau and you take on battles after battles. Right. In my mind, that's what it was, but I wasn't really paying that much attention. I was too busy chatting to him in the chat kind of thing. So endless.
He bored you to tears. Is that what you're saying? He sent you to sleep. You were struggling, and instead of sitting there listening to Headspace, you thought, I know what I'll do. I'll go into show stream. He'll play a bit of Pokemon.
He'll put me to sleep. Bam. Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. The worst thing is, show was actually being really nice last night, and now all you're doing is making it look like I'm calling him a dick. God.
It's very easy to spin.
Yeah, exactly. But no, yeah, he was doing endless Dynamax dungeons. So I'm happy to say I still don't know what that is. I thought it was just kind of like fight after fight after fight. So that's yeah. Piss off, baby. says show you the chat.
You know what he's playing.
So yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know what Endless Dynamax Dungeons is. To be fair, I didn't go in. I went in for the aesthetic of Pokemon, but I went in for sure. There you go, being nice. So I wasn't really paying attention to the game as opposed to the creator, which is wonderful. That's the best way. That shows he's doing a good job. There you go, saved it. Nice. But anyway, if you're in the chats and you want to be evil to show, or maybe you want to be nice to show, I don't know, whatever. Maybe you just don't want to talk to show and you want to talk to Bib. I mean, I don't know why you want to do that. Feel free to get involved in the chat. Speaking of the chat, let's jump back and see who he's here. Lake says, just when I got back from home from work. And then there's an exclusive subscriber remote there that's actually, it's a sound activated one. It sounds a little bit like this.
Vibes?
No, not that one. the leg one.
Hello.
There we go. Nice. Fucker. So yes, good morning, Lake. How did the Pookie party go yesterday? I don't think it went very well, did it? I saw the end of the game yesterday and I sat there going, no. But yeah, well, do you know what you hear? It's fine. Nice. Good morning, Mr. Garlic Clark. Says morning, Shaggers. Enix is in. Bacon Chin is in as well. Shaggers in session. You goddamn right. Saw you playing on my Xbox friends list. Right. Is that baby playing House Flipper or me playing PUBG? I'm assuming it's the House Flipper. Because I'm not on your Xbox friend list, I'm on your PUBG friend list. Anyway, there you go. Bacon Chin says House Flipper is a banger. Show with the vibes. Who's hyped for Ukraine versus North Macedonia this afternoon?
Yeah.
Yes, it's football. It's football. I realise as well that because I've got my wavelength set up now, I think I'm going to stream some PUBG this afternoon. But I can mute my output from my browser so I can have the game on my third screen and listen to it without you guys having to listen on the stream. Yay! If that's not a reason to get a Wave 3 microphone, I don't know what is. So, like, I mean, we'll all be like in a super tense moment. I'll be creeping around a corner and then all of a sudden, like, fucking finish, get in. Like, oh, shit, and I'm dead. And I'm dead. 25 minutes for that. I'm dead.
Clive tells her giving out all the expletives. Fucking finish, mate.
All right, mate. It's proper banged up, mate. Lake says, I watched Finland gaming outside bar with a big screen in front of us was great, but Finland didn't get any points. You know what? You had the benefits and the pleasures of the Euros. That's the real thing about the Euros. It's nice to bring the silverware home, I think. I don't know. I've never experienced it. But that's the real win. It's like, yeah, only one team gets to take the silverware home. Every other team gets to celebrate all of that too. So enjoy the wins. Goran Pandev is the GOAT. Command strips sit on a throne of lies. My ass, they come off clean. They do, as long as you like pull them in a completely weird, inhuman way of pulling them. You pull them off the wall comes off. You pull them down so they stretch like some weird sock, then yeah, that's fine. But not always, because quite often if you pull them down, the end just goes pops off, and you're like, well, fuck, I don't even have anything to chisel the fucker off now. So yeah, yeah. Most of them do. There's always one though, always one. It should be done for trade description acts, exactly. House Flipper sounds like the gangster version of the TV show Place in the Sun. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. To be fair, it was just fight after fight after fight. Well, there you go. There you go. Nice. So that's what I saw. So my description was pretty accurate. I'll take that. I'll take that. Finland played absolutely great yesterday. To be fair, I didn't really see. I just saw the last few minutes, so I just saw the result. From the who was commentating? Was that the Keown game? That might have been the Martin Keown game. Anyway, afterwards I tweeted that Martin Keown was boring as hell because he is. He's possible. Him and Genus are up there with the worst commentators of all time, my opinion. But he was kind of like
never Steve McManaman.
Do you know what? I would take Steve McManaman over either of those. Not that I particularly like Steve McManaman. And Mark, because I tweeted out yesterday, Mark said Robbie Savage. And I know Robbie Savage can be a bit of a melt, but at least he has a personality. It might not be one that you like, but at least he has a personality. Martin Keown and Jermaine Genus don't. But what they do have, I mean, Keown, fair enough, he's won some FA Cups, but Genus has won nothing. But he comes with this vibe as if he's like 12 Champions League medals, kind of stuff like that, and you're like, mate, Me. Better than Sam Matface talking about Swiss fans looking like first aid boxes. An average goal being remembered.
What?
It's fucking never. An average goal being remembered for all time for no reason, and Murder She Wrote was proper weird commentary. I did. Do you know? I saw comments on social media about Murder She Wrote, but I didn't actually see it. Vish, hello there, you sexy bastards. Good morning. How the devil are you? They are boring, but they're not bad. McMahon and Chris Sutton are just shite. See, that's the thing is though, like
Noddle as well. Put him in the bin.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't take any of those, but I just think Genus, he's just monotone voice, and Martin Keown. I don't. Do you know what I think it is? Probably Martin Keown's probably got a little bit of an unfairness for me because I went to the 2013 Champions League final in London, not a flex by the way, because it was work. But I was at the 2013 Champions League final, and we didn't go to the final itself. We hired like a rooftop terrace kind of bar in London for the Champions League, for the PES League finalists to go and like watch the Champions League, big screen TV, drinks on tap kind of thing. And then at half time, Martin Keown and one of the Sky Sports presenters came out to do like a Q&A thing. And he was drab, boring as fuck, until he found like the one Arsenal supporter in the room and then just joked about that Martin Keown versus Ruud van Nistelrooy sort of like sort of thing. And obviously I'm a United fan sat in the room going, okay, get over it. But he just kept coming back to that one joke because he had one person in the room that would go, hey. So yeah, maybe that's why I don't like him. But anyway, enough of that. Let's tell you why we are actually here. It's not about Martin Keown, another drab football presenter. It's about the news from the world of video games. So if you don't know, my name is Graham. This is Bib. We are Ice Cream Uploads, and in true Ice Creamy fashion, this is your scoop, your daily dose of news from the world of video games and beyond. And some may say the UK's #1 video game podcast. I mean, we are the people that say that, but it still counts. We are some. Anyway, we will give you our thoughts, our impressions over on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories in the world of video games over the next hour or so. We want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions. We do go live on Twitch, bang on the dot at 10 a.m. ish, each and every single, it's something like that. Nice. It's 11:28 right now, so yeah, 10 a.m. ish, 11:15 ish somewhere. So yeah, we go live at 10 a.m. ish. We work in video games industry. We do the work stuff first, and the streams kind of have to fit in around that. So it's 10 a.m. ish. Anyway, we do go live on Twitch. If you are in the stream with us on Twitch, please feel free to get involved in the show. We turn the live stream into a podcast, a video that goes on YouTube, and an audio podcast on iTunes and Spotify and SoundCloud and Google Play. So if you're in the chat, please feel free to get involved. On behalf of all you beautiful people that are watching and listening, hey, I'm talking to you right now, on demand a little bit later on. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button. Do it. Do you know what? Actually, subscribe. Tell your mates to subscribe. Yeah, high five. YouTube comment session. Yay. Anyway, before we jump into the news, we want to talk about a few more drab presenters on BBC. No. Before we jump into the news, we want to remind you that ! loot drop will get you some information about if you're a subscriber on the channel, you could get yourself a prize. We just yesterday, I believe it was, gave Step Bro, who is Aratrax on Twitch, his copy of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for PS5. That was what he chose. He had the options between Ratchet and Clank, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and Super Mario Golf on the Switch. He chose Ratchet and Clank for the PS5, and he got that just for being a sub to the channel. You don't have to be a sub, but we appreciate it, so that's why we give you a little bit back. So !loot drop for the information on that. Thank you very much, Vish. As well as that, ! I almost burped into the mic. Oh, I didn't. Just as that happened, yeah, I'm going to burp into the mic more often. Vish, thank you very much for the sub. Appreciate you. Thank you very much for the Prime.
Legend.
Just make sure that you join our Discord. There's a couple of parts to it. So obviously, you be a sub. You have to be in the Discord because that's where we draw the winners. But Discord needs to know that you're a sub, so you need to link your Discord and Twitch accounts. I think it mentions it all in the loot drop link that you've brought up in the chat anyway. But as long as you can type in the loot drop channel on our Discord, that's it, you're entered. So that that's what basically we take anyone that's a member of that channel each month, put their names into a hat, do the draw, and we give away a prize. We haven't even announced the prize for this month. Has anyone got any suggestions? Please feel free to let us know. If not, we will put something together for you guys anyway. But usually it's usually around the price of a free game or something like that. So feel free to let us know. A free Prime sub because I'm not paying for this shite. I wouldn't either. But do you know what? We'll take the free Prime subs if anyone needs to get rid of it. But I appreciate you, Dick. As well as that, exclamation mark, insert coin if you want to get yourself any merch with 20% off. Exclamation mark, muscle moose if you want some drinks with 25% off. We don't earn any money on those, by the way. That's just discounts for you guys. Nice, fill your boots. But as you can see on screen, today's top story is about Bethesda, their exclusivity and fanboys being pissed. We'll jump onto that one first, but just let you know what will be following it. Sony says it would rather pay for new IPs than buy new studios. Shots fired. Shots fired at Xbox, which is quite funny because Sony's bought shitloads of studios in the past. But anyway, Demon's Souls could be coming to PS4, and GTA Online will be shut down forever in December. For certain consoles, obviously, not for everyone, because that would be stupid. But the first story of the day, Bethesda says it understands if PlayStation fans are pissed about Xbox exclusivity, and I'm absolutely not plugging for time here. Bib, would you be pissed about Xbox exclusivity of Bethesda titles?
No, I would not, Graham. I would not be pissed at all.
Okay, well, that's good, because I'm going to jump into the article here. That's great feeling. I like it. Nailed it again. Tom Ivan at VGC says, Bethesda says it understands if PlayStation fans are pissed about Xbox exclusivity, but leading studio figures say focusing on fewer platforms results in better games. Stopping for a second. Pretty annoying, this, because just the other day we had something from PlayStation saying, yeah, do you know what? It doesn't matter if we're bringing games out on the PS4 and the PS5. They're still going to be lovely games and work perfectly anyway. So we're all like, high five. Yeah, we can shut people up. And then the very next week, Xbox and Bethesda are going, yeah, if we make games for all platforms, they're shit. So let's start the arguments again. Let's jump into the article, though. Following months or speculation, I'm assuming that's following months of speculation, Microsoft definitively confirmed on Sunday that Bethesda's eagerly anticipated Starfield will be exclusive to platforms that support Xbox Game Pass. It seemed inevitable, given Microsoft paid $7.5 billion to acquire Bethesda's parent company, ZeniMax Media, and the platform holder had previously said its primary reason for doing so was to grow its Xbox subscription service. But any lingering doubts were put to rest when Bethesda's games received the star-billing treatment at the Xbox E3 conference. Starfield opened the show, and Arcane's Redfall closed it, with both games confirmed as Xbox console exclusives. Following the event, two senior Bethesda figures spoke candidly about the Microsoft acquisition and Xbox exclusivity, both in terms of the impact it has on players and on the quality of the studio's output. Pete Hines, SVP of Global Marketing and Communications at Bethesda, said he understands if some PlayStation players are pissed, that's in quotes, by the way, about the situation, while the studio's most senior development figure, Todd Howard, admitted to harboring some reservations about cutting out owners of Sony consoles. However, both of them said that focusing on fewer platforms results in better quality games, be they Starfield or the upcoming PS5 exclusives Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, which Sony signed prior to the Microsoft acquisition. And they also said that Microsoft's bid to expand the Xbox ecosystem to as many devices as possible meant more people will end up playing Bethesda's games than would have been the case if the company had remained a third-party developer. Quote, if you're a big fan of stuff we make in the game, if you're a big fan of stuff we make in a game that we're making and it is no longer available on your platform, I totally understand if you're unhappy or pissed or whatever. I get it. Those are real feelings and frustrations, Hine told GameSpot in a video interview. He later added, I don't know how to allay the fears and concerns of PlayStation 5 fans other than to say, well, I'm a PlayStation 5 player as well, and I've played games on that console, and there's games I'm going to continue to play in it. But if you want to play Starfield, it's on PC and Xbox. Sorry, all I can really say is I apologize because I'm certain that's frustrating to folks, but there's not a whole lot I can do about it. Howard was asked by The Telegraph if he had any reservations about having to effectively choose a side. Now Bethesda is a Microsoft subsidiary. Pick a side, meaning PlayStation? Is that what you mean? Well, a little bit, he responded. You don't ever want to leave people out, right? But at the end of the day, your ability to focus and say, this is a game I want to make, these are the platforms I want to make it on, and being able to really lean on in on those is going to make for a better product. And we're big believers in all of the avenues that Xbox and Microsoft are doing to get games to more people, whether that's the integration with the PC, which is huge for us, the cloud streaming, and all those things, Howard continued. So I think it's about taking a long-term view. And our belief that those things are really fundamentally good. So we see it actually opening up more and more so that people's ability to play our games via Game Pass and other things, their ability to play our games doesn't go down, it goes up dramatically. During a pre-E3 media briefing, Microsoft said it's planning to bring Xbox cloud gaming. Do you know what? We'll stop there. We don't need to know about the cloud gaming stuff. We're talking about exclusivity of Bethesda games and the fact that PlayStation fanboys are a bit pissed or could be pissed. Should they be pissed? Are you pissed? What are your thoughts, babe?
Yeah, I think it's difficult to have a fully thought out comment on this purely because of how well Xbox players have had it. Well, PlayStation players have had it recently. To now, Xbox very nearly. It's now a 2-horse race. Do you know what I mean? PlayStation was out on its own for so long, and now over the last 24 months, 2 years, obviously that is just for you guys, a bit of quick math for you there. It started to come back from Xbox. The marketing has been so good. It's been very consumer heavy. I think now we're getting to the point where you're thinking, okay, Xbox are coming with something now. Like, I'm getting a little bit of fear in me for people who are massive Elder Scrolls fans now potentially not having the opportunity to be able to play this on their Xbox. I mean, we have had exclusive Elder Scrolls games previously on the Xbox, but this is a real possibility that we're not going to get a new one on the PlayStation 5. Doesn't really affect me, but it will potentially now force my hand to buy an Xbox. I've already got a PC. I'd prefer to play it on there, but my PC's pretty old now, like my graphics cards. We're not going to be able to play it as well as I would like to play it, say, for instance, on my PlayStation. But it's getting closer now, and I think, do you know what? They're not asked about the 120 million PlayStation 4s out there. They're not asked about the millions of PlayStation 5s out there. They've acquired Bethesda early to make games for that console, and this Starfield one now is the first one where they've got the bullet in the chamber, they've pulled the trigger, and now there's a complete divide across the video game community. Bethesda are a they are now a multi-billion dollar company that are making very, very good games. They've got a history of making fantastic IPs that have stood the test of time. And this now, I think, is the first real game where people are going, okay, maybe they aren't potentially asked about how many PlayStations they are out there in the world. They're just fully focused on making Xbox and Microsoft happy. Is that good for video games? I'm not too sure. I don't know. I can't hand on heart say this is a very good move, because I still think there's an audience out there elsewhere, but I understand why they've now bought them to a degree. I don't know. I think I've got an opinion formed on it. I just don't believe the words that are going to come out of my mouth. So I don't think I should say them, because I always think, well, why are they doing this? I understand why they're doing it, but I don't personally believe it. But at the end of the day, if you're buying companies to make video games for you, it's entirely up to yourself how you want to distribute those games and to what platform. I don't particularly think he's being honest when he says that he's going to making games for other platforms is going to hinder what they've already got. Obviously, they will have to port the games over to, because the way that the games are built for a particular console will directly work on that console, so they will have to put time and effort into being able to move it on to different consoles. I understand that to a degree, but I still think there will be an element of timed exclusivity with this. Not just Starfield, but the whole of their catalog. I understand, and I am happy for them to say, do you know what? We'll just release these games for, I don't know, 18 months on Xbox, and then we'll potentially move them over to whatever else. But there's various different ways for you to be able to play these games. It's not just on a console. You can play them on your mobile phone. You can play them on your PC, which is what I'm likely to do. But having an Elder Scrolls game as a console seller for me, so I will more than likely at some point be picking up an Xbox. It probably will be the S. I haven't got a 4K monitor to be able to play the X on, so that's highly irrelevant. I'm happy with the S. That's cool by me, but it still will potentially force my hand to go and pick up another console, and that's exactly what they want. They don't make any money; they actually make a loss on selling consoles. It's the software that makes them the money, and this, by far, will increase their profit margins a billionfold.
Mr. T in the chat says people were complaining when Xbox didn't have games. People complaining when Xbox has games. Welcome to the internet. To which Tito says, I disagree with you, Asim Tanvir. I mean, I have no reason, but it's the internet, so I disagree on principle. To which Asim says, "I agree to disagree with your agreement to disagree." Nice. There we go. Thank you very much for that exchange in the chat. Yeah. No, I see. I don't like this level of exclusivity, but I don't mind it. There was something in the chat. Where was it? Actually, do you know, let me just jump back entirely. Oh, there, I found it anyway. When I asked what should we give away, Shaw said a PS5. Ad says I'll take a free PS5. That's not what I meant. But Tito says all I can say after Spider-Man Days Gone Uncharted, suck it, PS nerds. Our time is now. Our time has come. Xbox Master Race. See, I know you're obviously bantering there, but that point, I've seen that point made by quite a few people. Like, well, we didn't get Spider-Man. We didn't get whatever. And it's like, yeah, but that was made by PlayStation, from PlayStation Studios and things like that for PlayStation. That's kind of different. I mean, Starfield hasn't been on any platform, so that being just on Xbox, that's perfectly fine by me because it is what it is. I mean, no PlayStation players had access to that game, so they're not missing out on anything. Xbox players have put the time and effort into that, so they get the fruits of that. Well, Xbox devs have put the time into that, so they get the fruits of the labour. Jobs are good and fill your boots. And then that Redfall, okay, we've not played that before, so that being an exclusive game for Xbox, it is what it is. Xbox devs have made games for an Xbox platform. What's the chances of that? I mean, me streaming on Ice Cream Uploads, I mean, that I'm in theory pissing off any other channel on Twitch by not streaming there, but this is the channel that I work for, so this is where it goes. This gets the fruits of my labour, as it should be with any game like that. However, the likes of the Elder Scrolls and the Dooms and the Fallouts and things like that, that is a little bit different for me, in my perspective, in terms of that's in essence to imagine. I'm trying to think of a game that's on FIFA. Let's say PlayStation buys EA, which would obviously be a mega money purchase, but PlayStation buys EA and then goes, oh yeah, FIFA's not coming out on Xbox anymore. That would be like heartbreaking for a shitload of Xbox players. And it would be a stupid business decision as well from PlayStation, but still, it would be. And it's the fact that it's been there for so long. Players have got used to that, and the only thing different is the color of the box that they play on, or the color of the brand of the box that they play on, more specifically. So those games going, that's a bit different, but even still, Xbox owns it. PlayStation bought out Insomniac. They're not gonna like if they make any old school Insomniac games. They, in theory, could just make them for PlayStation. And they probably would do. I don't think PlayStation would make old Insomniac catalog games for Xbox anymore. So, so yeah, it's just it is what it is. And yeah, the way to get around it is just get a PC because then you can play PlayStation and Xbox games in one. Nice, fill your boots.
You can still play it on your mobile phone. Everyone has a mobile phone, and you have the opportunity to have Games Pass. So if that's the only way that you're able to play it, that's unfortunate. I mean, a mobile phone costs a lot more than a console these days, like nearly 4 times as much. But it is a kick in the bollocks for people, like you say, who are massive Doom fans, that are massive Fallout fans, that are massive Elder Scrolls fans, that potentially may not have it. But it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. They've acquired them for a reason. I honestly thought, hand on heart, they would not just necessarily honor the PlayStation audience, but the fact that there is so many consoles out there, it would be a case of why wouldn't we? Because we just make so much more money. But ultimately, that's clearly not their that's not their whole reason of doing buying Bethesda in the first place. It's just to make sure that they sell copies on a particular format, many formats, but a particular brand, shall we say? Then.
That thing about
formats,
I wonder if that is really it, because that's a good PR answer. Do you want to make money? Do you want to make games for PlayStation? No. Why not? Because, well, we'll give our enemies some money. That's not really a PR friendly answer, because that's so you think about money first, not the users. However, by saying, yeah, but by not focusing on PlayStation, we get to make better games, that is a good PR answer, because that's thinking about the user and the quality of the output of the product. But I wonder if that's actually true, because, I mean, with that, we will never know the answer to that question. But it's just conveniently that's a very good answer from a PR perspective. We would like to focus on the quality of our games, not making shitloads of profit off them. Chances are they will probably do both in some sort of senses, and not lining the pockets of PlayStation at the same time. So it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one to see. if that focusing on fewer platforms will lead to better games. I mean, it does. It does. We've seen it. Look at how good Forza looks. Look at how good The Last of Us looks.
Breathtaking.
So both sides of the coin. Games built for the Xbox Velocity architecture will look incredible. Games built for the PlayStation systems will look incredible. Not that you can't get a good middle ground either, but yeah, if Xbox goes, we want a new game, a new experience, and we want it to be the best it could be, which means keeping it on Xbox, then there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. Fill your boots, because if Xbox didn't buy Bethesda and didn't pump all that cash and money into it, then we wouldn't have Starfield being built to that level anyway. So it's not like you're missing out. So yeah. Nintendo's time in 2022. Hashtag Switch Pro confirmed, says ads. You got them right. NXS fanboys complain that an Xbox company makes its games exclusive. Spoken like a true Xbox fan. No, I don't think that's it. I think it's. I mean, some fanboys are, but for me, I'd be complaining about an Xbox company making games that weren't Xbox games exclusive. I know they are now, but it's the legacy. And that legacy means that it's not just black and white anymore. There is a substantial grey area. I've got a Doom helmet on the shelf up there. And my copy of Doom that came with that is a PlayStation copy. But my next copy of Doom, well, it might not be. It might not be possible to be a PlayStation copy. And that's the grey area is, okay, Starfield, yeah, you've got no claim to that. Redfall, no claim to that whatsoever. The others, though, that people do have claims to, nobody claims to anything, but you know what I mean. But that's the bit where there's the grey area. Elder Scrolls and Fallouts will become Microsoft only. It's a possibility. Definitely feels like the shoe is on the other foot, says Tito. They still get Deathloop and Ghostwire. Don't know why they complain. It's why Microsoft bought ZeniMax for all these great IPs. That's a stupid question or comment. I don't know why they complain. It's why Microsoft bought it. But that's the point. They're complaining because Microsoft bought it for that. How can you not know why they're complaining? Just not that it's not good for Microsoft, but it's quite obvious why people would be complaining. And it's because of that. That's why, like you say, it's why Microsoft bought them, to cut them off. But listen to the words. Microsoft bought ZeniMax to cut PlayStation and its user base off from games, is what you're saying. That is a good reason to complain, because it's profit-based as opposed to content-based. That said, if Microsoft bought ZeniMax to make better games for an exclusive platform, that's not really something that you can complain about in the same context. It's a slightly different concept there. So if that's what Microsoft bought it for, then yeah, if they bought it for better games, fill your boots. If you bought it just to make money, then it's a reasonable reason for people to be complaining about. They've got, I mean, complain all you want. You're not going to change anything. It's like shouting at a referee after he's already blown his whistle. He's going to, oh, sorry, didn't realise that you get pretty angry about that. I'll revert the yellow card and the free kick there. It's not going to happen. They still get Deathloop and Ghostwire. Yeah, it was already done. It's kind of is what it is. Sony's state of play has to be good, as Sony are slowly slipping out of the lead. I think Sony are out of the lead in terms of general marketing, not in terms of sales. Still, by far, the lead in terms of last gen and this gen in terms of the potential. However, yeah, the lead in terms of the aura, the brand perception right now, Xbox are killing it for sure. Absolutely.
They're just drowning out the competition in just conversation. Like, you don't hear much from PlayStation anymore, do you? Like, they're just radio silent most of the time, apart from when they're announcing new games coming out for the PlayStation Plus stuff. Like, you just don't hear them talking that often. I mean, you haven't done for the longest time, to be fair. But when you're in front,
forget,
you tend not to say much.
You can talk about the controller for a VR headset system that's not coming this year or anytime during the middle 3 quarters of next year. Great.
But I mean, the best way to keep yourself relevant and in the conversation is to talk about yourselves in conversation. So it's just one of them things. Like, eventually, I think, in my personal opinion, Xbox are already clear at this moment in time, and that's coming from someone who doesn't even have a brand new Xbox. Like, again, I play my Xbox games on my PC. It's little old. I do need a new CPU, need a new graphics card to be able to compete with the power of what my PlayStation can put out there. It would just be cheaper to buy an Xbox Series X at this point. But still, like, they are still in the forefront of my mind when it comes to new video games. Knockout City, for instance, when that came out, guess what? play that day one on my PC. You've got all of these games here, 33 games, 28 of them coming to Games Pass next year and this year. Like, that's how you stay in the conversation.
The thing
is by
is,
giving
though,
people what they want.
so like you mentioned, they're in the clear there. Will they remain in the clear after a state of play? Will a state of play with a few good games be enough? Because PlayStation's stronghold arguably is massive. Do they need to go above and beyond, or do they just need to do a half decent state of play to make people fight back? Like, will maintaining be enough for PlayStation, or do they need to go big as well?
The biggest win that PlayStation could have now, I think, in the next 12 months is to make PlayStation Now a viable option. They did very well with the PlayStation Plus collection, giving people who potentially missed out on a lot of top tier games on the PlayStation 4 playable day one on your PlayStation 5. Just re-download them. You're good to go. That's how obviously I experienced it days gone. But having the biggest thing that's come out of Xbox in the last 3 years is Game Pass. That's all they ever talk about. That's their forefront of their conversation. PlayStation Now is a farce compared to what you've got with Xbox Game Pass. That isn't a viable option. You are wasting money.
I would not put that in the same conversation. Xbox Game Pass is so good that you kind of have to have it with an Xbox. I have a PlayStation and would not consider purchasing PlayStation Now in the slightest. So I don't even see it as a viable alternative to Game Pass.
It was double the price at one point. Don't forget, it was like £16 a month, and the games that you got on there were a shambles. Like, sorry, it's just not even a conversation. Like, but them to be able to compete and be in that Netflix style of catalog that Xbox Game Pass has is their biggest win, I think. And I'm not just saying that because I want as many games as I possibly can, which I do. If I'm paying my money, I want the kind of experience that people are getting over at Microsoft and over at Xbox, whether or not the Games Pass for PC, mobile phone, or your console. Like, their experience over there is unbelievable. But PlayStation just needs to try and get as close to that as they can. They might not do it out of pride because they think it's too close and they are technically copying what everybody else. Well, all Xbox has done is just copy Netflix. Just going, do you know what? We have all these games, these fucking banger games that are coming out of day one on this console. You're good to go. Like, just download the game. You're good to go. As soon as it's physically available for you to be able to play, download it. Go ahead, crack on. Because we know full well all you're going to do is just post that to social media. That will then get someone who has no interest in buying Xbox Game Pass, but they go, oh my God, you're able to play that particular game that I really want for the price of £7, and I can play it right now. Fuck yeah, I'm signing up to that. That's their whole marketing spiel. It's like what Starbucks was doing, writing people's names wrong on the front of the cup. They post it on social media. Look, they spelled my name wrong in the fucking divs. Right above the Starbucks logo. So then everyone knows that you're drinking a Starbucks. That person will then go to Starbucks because it's back in the back. It's fucking genius.
Do you know what?
But PlayStation
Grend fully agrees with you right there. That's what I was called. I was called Grend on what did they call me? Something like bread before or something as well. Okay, let's jump back through the chat because there was a lot of comments. I suspected Microsoft would revert to form after the lost generation that was the Xbox, the Xbone. Says TD. He also says, I think Madge commented the other day, if he'd known what was coming up, he may have bought an Xbox instead of a PS5. Is it too late, though? I mean, that's the question. Because PlayStation has such a big hold. And the thing that's easy to forget with PlayStation is a lot of people have libraries that they own that they don't want to get rid of. I know Xbox Game Pass is a very good counter to that because you can get access to an even bigger library off the bat. You just don't own it. And a lot of people still don't like in-app purchases, still don't like the loaning of content and things like that. A lot of people still do. So there's that to contend with, which is why I was saying, do PlayStation just need to maintain, or do they need to hit it out of the park? Because when you're so far ahead, when you have so many invested users, then if you don't have to, quite often you don't have to hit it out of the park. You don't have to make that huge stride to keep your lead. Yeah, you lose a little bit of the lead that you did have, but you still stay out in front. So PlayStation, do they need to do something as drastic as Game Pass in terms of changing the game? Do you know, I hope they do, but I don't think they will. I think we'll just continue with that. Anyway, I'll carry on through the chat because we do have PlayStation stuff to jump into. Enix says, yep, ask him. Clearly Microsoft trying to beef Game Pass. Look at what was announced. So much content in Game Pass now. Timed exclusives should be the way it happens. PlayStation wait 1 to 3 months more. See, I mean, I'd like that, but I understand if Xbox are making their own titles for their own systems. PlayStation are doing the same sort of thing as well. So Xbox and Bethesda making titles that have never been released before is the same as PlayStation getting Naughty Dog to make Uncharted only for the PlayStation, and so that is what it is. A new series, just run with that. So, and says, fuck it, I'll just play FIFA 22, PES 22 on PlayStation all year, then Breath of the Wild 2. Fuck Xbox. Nintendo is greater than Xbox. Good morning, Plumerico. Ad says, Outer Worlds 2 being Xbox exclusive is a kicker, as Outer Worlds 1 was PlayStation as well. Yeah, I mean, that's where it starts to become a shame, because what if you're a PlayStation user and you don't have a lot of money? Then you're just kind of screwed. But that's where it is a shame, and that's what the Xbox, but there's the dude, Pete Hines is his name. That's what he was kind of getting at, saying it was a bit. Actually, no, was it Todd Howard? I think it was Todd Howard. One of the guys was basically saying that it was a bit shit that if you're a PlayStation owner, but it just is what it is. There's nothing you can do about that. But for them and for the content that they make and the people that could access it, the benefits for them would outweigh the negatives. So it's just the way the cookie crumbles. Mr. T says, I have everything, so I might be talking from a privileged position, but ultimately they should fire at PlayStation heads to up their game too. I see that competition is a positive. Yeah, I agree. And I expect PlayStation Showcase to be a banger. Microsoft just been having wins in terms of the console features and Game Pass. But today, COD went 120 FPS with backwards compatibility, which means Sony might have updated the SDK to let people patch the PS4 versions to support those features like at Xbox. Ad says, my phone's a Nokia, baby. Nokia 3310 for life.
Indestructible.
Are you guys okay? I bet you've not charged it since either, have you? It's still got 2 bars left. Nice. As both a PS5 owner and an Xbox, I am happy with this, says Lake. And Nokia, great phones from Finland. To be fair, now realizing Lake's still in the chat, it's not Nokia. Is it Nokia? Is that how you pronounce it or something? Nokia, because I'm a Northern Englishman. What do you mean I can't put a Ferrari engine in my Vauxhall Zafira? It's not fair. That's the way business works. PlayStation needs to deal with it. For sure. It's like I say, it's not so much the Ferrari engine in a Zafira. It's that, okay, so I've been sticking your engines in my car for a long period of time, but now you've changed your engine just to work with another car. That's when it's a problem. If it's just something that's made for other cars, but it is what it is. They own it. So as much as it's a shame, it ultimately means if I don't know which guy it was from Bethesda, either Todd Howard or Pete Hines, one of them basically said that they can make more games for more people. If it is the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. So, we'd say Microsoft promised Windows 10 will be the last one. So, what, they're not making any more Windows? What? Technically, they're also not coming to PC, if they did say that. I think they mentioned some words that kind of half said that. So, where was it? It was something that said Xbox compatible platforms or something like that, and Xbox console exclusives. They've put words in there that could be... you could, if you read it in the right way, it could be a case of they're not counting out PC. If I read it right, I could be wrong. Though. Better games, quote marks. I bet Fallouts and Elder Scrolls will use the same buggy game engine still. PS fanboys have been screaming that Xbox has no games for years. The times are changing. Exactly. I mean, PlayStation's had some great games and it's just had one release in Ratchet and Clank. Phenomenal game. But what is coming? Not that there's nothing coming. There could be loads coming. But at least Xbox players know that there's loads coming. At least Xbox players know there's about 30 games coming. And at least Xbox players know that, okay, well, you don't have to pay anything for them. I mean, you do, but you don't. But you do, but you don't. So, yeah, phenomenal. I mean, it's always been PlayStation is for the players. And Xbox is for the players next year, next time, next generation. But TV. And it's absolutely flipped now. PlayStation has the better catalogue of games available now, for sure. But what has it got after Ratchet? Xbox, you know exactly what you're going to be playing for the next 18 months. PS Now is just all games, right? Pretty much. Conversation for me, Back for Blood would cost me more than 200 plus on PlayStation, but because I'm in Game Pass, I get it day one, and that's the biggest convo I always have. Sony pride on their first party, so they couldn't copy Game Pass because they would lose their main way of making money through their exclusives. Exactly. That's been mentioned before as well. Jim Ryan's come out and said the exact same thing. Just found a way on YouTube of making a flat white at home with just a cafetiere. It's a revelation. It's amazing. Please drop the link in the Discord. Or the drink in the Discord. This is the same thing. Tito using bloody big words like making. Bloody hell, Tito. I apologise if you're discombobulated by my comment. I'll endeavour to rectify my vocabulary, says Tito. Stop using large words, Tito. What the fuck does rectify mean? It's just doing that thing on Friends where Joey just goes to synonyms and thesaurus and chooses a different word for everyone, and it suddenly stops making sense. I suppose it works both ways. Look at Sunset Overdrive. That was originally the Xbox, but if they do a sequel, it will be PS exclusive. I mean, it is, and it is shit. It's shit both ways because fans lose out on things that they are open to because of business, and that is shit. There's no hiding it. It is shit, but it is also business. So deal with it. If business didn't exist and business needs weren't put not necessarily first, but at least first some of the time, then you wouldn't have any of the games. So it's the you flip a coin. Sometimes you get the good side, sometimes you don't. Got Sunset Overdrive was unreal. We'll definitely play on PS5 when number 2 releases. Number 1 is owned by Microsoft, so doubt it will come to PlayStation. Yes, Nokia, pretty much how you said it. Nokia is right next to Tampere, where I live. I sometimes go to Frisbee golf to Nokia. Well, do you know what? There's a Frisbee golf channel on Twitch. Make sure you tune in. 24-hour content. Phenomenal stuff.
Great style it is.
It is ridiculously good. Not a chance the game won't be coming to PC. If it's Microsoft, they will always release on PC. They will be coming to PC, just Xbox console exclusive. Yeah, exactly. I love the messaging from Xbox. Right. 6 top games over 6 months via Xbox Game Pass. That catches attention, especially with the likes of Halo and Forza in the ads. Plumrico says, once xCloud gets placed on TVs like Netflix and Prime, etc., do now, it will be massive, and bring gaming to a whole new audience. I mean, they've already started pushing that. Like, was it last year we were commenting on like a Samsung TV that was saying it came with Xbox's Game Pass or if it was the xCloud or whatever built in. So yeah, they're already looking at that sort of stuff. But Xbox has been about that for a while. Even though they have box in their name, they want to get rid of the idea of the box. The box is a concept.
And everything.
So yeah, they'll just be X. They'll get rid of the box soon. So you don't need it. It'll be on your TV, be on your phone, be on your PC, be on your console. It's just X. I put the link in the Discord, Graham. Thank you very much. Thank you. Anyway, so we'll put a pin in that. But the gist of it is Xbox and Bethesda are making games for their platforms. They understand that some people will be pissed, and some people are right to be pissed, but it is what it is. I mean, hopefully we don't see it with everything. Hopefully we see some of the learnings that Microsoft have had with Minecraft and realise that you open up large player bases, cross-play does get you involved as well, unless PlayStation starts charging you £1 bajillion to be on their systems, then fuck you, PlayStation. But yeah, hopefully we start to see some of that stuff, and maybe with the likes of cross-play and things like that, Xbox will use their existing Xbox will use the existing Bethesda titles for PlayStation users, and everyone wins. If they don't, oh well, we all know it was coming. Would you get yourself an Xbox One S? £250, job's good. Fill your boots, nice. I know it's £250. Not everyone has £250, but that's just could be a nice jumping off point. Anyway, we'll jump into the next bit of news.
It's a massive viable option.
It is. Providing you have the money, obviously, but it's definitely something I will be looking at. If not the One X, I think the One S will probably be a semi-future, a short-term future-ish purchase for me anyway. Anyway, PlayStation. I mean, obviously they can buy back. Just buy EA. Just buy Ubisoft and whatever, and then screw you, Xbox. But no, PlayStation will not do that. Sony would rather pay for new IPs rather than acquire new studios, says PlayStation boss. This is written by Sean Murray at The Gamer, and it says, PlayStation Studios head Herman Hulst doesn't really care about how we set it up organisationally, but he's really into getting new IPs. Deviation Games is a new independent studio that's working on a brand new IP for PlayStation. We know absolutely nothing about the game, but thanks to a new interview with Eurogamer, we do know how PlayStation prefers to go about acquiring new IPs. Unlike Microsoft, which has no problem dropping $7.5 billion on a studio even as large as Bethesda, Sony prefers to pay for IPs rather than studios. Hulse made that notion clear when discussing the new IP coming from Deviation Games. Quote, new IP is amazing. We're always looking to offer fresh new experiences to the audience, to the PlayStation community, said Hulse, and it doesn't really matter to me at the end of the day how we set it up organizationally. It's all about how do we get eventually the best possible experiences to our community. There is certainly no shortage of large independent studios for Sony to contract to get new IPs, but it does put into stark contrast the differences between Sony and Microsoft. It looks like Sony prefers to limit its liability by just paying for IPs rather than purchasing an entire studio. If Rare, Obsidian, or Ninja Theory produce a flop, Microsoft still has to keep paying the studio's salary. But if Deviation's game is a flop, Sony only loses their initial investment. Of course, remaining independent has its advantages too, and considering Deviation Games was founded by two 13-year Triac veterans, Josh Blundell and Dave Anthony, they probably see a lot of value in being their own boss. As for the game Deviation is making, Blundell told Eurogamer that development is going really well, with Anthony only adding that this game is going to be big in scope. Deviation now has over 100 employees working on this new IP, and although we don't know anything about it yet, Triac is a studio that's mostly worked on Call of Duty for the past decade, so a first-person shooter seems the likeliest possibility. IP or studio? Which one's better? Fight! Which side are you taking, babe? Or are you not? How's the fence?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Basically, everything that we've just said in reverse applies to this. Does it not?
It does. It does.
So it's just one of them. Like, obviously, there will be new IPs that are coming for each console. The only people that end up losing out are the people who don't have that particular console. But at least with PlayStation, there's only really two ways that you can play it: or in a PlayStation 4 or a PlayStation 5. Xbox, at least you've got more options, I suppose. So that's a little bit easier. But yeah, I mean, everything that we've just said with the Xbox stuff, put that in reverse and apply it to this. Like, the only thing is, PlayStation haven't just paid $7.5 billion to acquire the studio.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It's essentially that.
I wonder the reasoning for that. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what my thought process on this, other than it makes sense. We've had studios have first party games made by first party studios, and we've had studios make first party games by external studios that only make one-off titles. It's been a thing that's happened forever. I am interested to see how this goes, though. And one thing I am actually interested to see is, so one of the things that the article mentions is let's see if I can find it. If Rare, Obsidian, or Ninja Theory produce a flop, Microsoft still has to keep paying the studio's salary. So we've seen that at the likes of EA. Who's the Mass Effect developer? Is it BioWare?
Yes, BioWare, yeah.
So BioWare had quite a complex time. So that meant that, like, after loads of mistakes, studio head changes, and a few games that didn't quite hit where they were supposed to hit and things like that, EA would have had a chunk of money to keep paying people to keep the studio going until they got their next hit. I would be interested to see how Microsoft deal with that, because Microsoft aren't a company that deal with losing money very well. They will quite often, just as there's a killed by Google, there's a killed by Microsoft site, probably, where Microsoft has started something and got rid of something. Mixer, and for example, and there's a ton of other things out there, programs that Microsoft bought and then got rid of. So it'd be interesting to see how, like, they said they don't want to get involved with the running, the day-to-day and the corporate structure of Bethesda. But if Bethesda makes Doom Eternal 2 and it's a bit and then they make another Elder Scrolls and it doesn't do very well, I'd be interested to see how that works then. Will Microsoft still continue to eat that, or will then they go, okay, this is where we need to Microsoft it a little bit now. Step away from the Xbox and call in the Microsoft so we can start chopping, start cutting. Whereas Sony doesn't have to do that. The downside is, though, if Sony gets Deviation to make a game and it's a banger, And then Xbox goes, yeah, we'll buy that studio. It's like, fuck. Okay, well, the next one you get to keep. Well, no, they don't because they'll own the IP. But yeah, it's an interesting one. It's good to see though that we do have a mix because it means that we do have short-term game. Xbox have a vested interest in making sure Bethesda's games work because it's their brand. Meanwhile, Deviation have a vested interest in making sure that their game is great because they don't have a guaranteed future with Sony and they want to sell another game. So there's no negatives in that sort of sense on either side. It's just a different way of running business. But do you know what? Hopefully both sides bang. Hopefully both sides not bang, but you know,
exactly,
are successful. Because if they bang, that would be parental guidance and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, Chels, good morning, good afternoon, even. How are you doing? Welcome in. Vish says, the thing is, it makes sense for Microsoft to buy ZeniMax. They own the IPs of Doom, Prey, Wolfenstein, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, etc. ZeniMax owns all of those different studios, Arcane, ID Studios, and like 5 others, so it's a gamble, but not a massive one. It's not. I mean, it's not as if they're buying weak studios or studios on the edge of existence. Yeah, Doom didn't have the greatest couple of years, not Doom, Bethesda didn't have the greatest couple of years beforehand. Doom being delayed, Fallout being not great, and then fixes being delayed, and all of the server shit and so on. So yeah, they didn't have the greatest time, but they were never in danger. So Microsoft has bought something that's established and in a great position. All they need to do is just maintain, and they'll make their money back eventually. But if they make it explode, they'll make their money back quickly with the amount of content and potential that they have there. Interested though, would like to see what the Deviation stuff is. We will keep you posted on that when we find out what the new game from Deviation Studios is that comes to PlayStation. In the meantime, let's talk about a different game that is coming to PlayStation, as Demon's Souls could be on its way to PS4. So Demon's Souls, one of the most impressive PS5 showcases, may be coming to PS4. So Bluepoint's Demon's Souls remake, which was the biggest and most technically impressive launch game for the PS5, may show up on the PS4. That's according to PlayStation Game Size, a Twitter account dedicated to cataloguing game updates and file sizes. PlayStation Game Size spotted an entry for Demon's Souls on the PS4 store database. Though there's no direct link for it, the account said it could just be a test version and may end up not being released. Nevertheless, the idea that Demon's Souls could end up coming to PS4 is certainly interesting. Even if it may be hard to imagine such a technical tour de force for PS5 working on a PS4, it's important to remember that this won't be the first time a PS5 game made its way to PS4. Sony, of course, started this trend by initially announcing Horizon Forbidden West and Spider-Man Miles Morales as PS5 exclusives, before later confirming that both games are also coming to PS4. Indeed, other announced games we've yet to even see, such as the next God of War and Gran Turismo 7, are also coming to the PS4, even on the third-party end. Action game Godfall, which was similarly pitched as a lavish, only possible on PS5 project, was just announced for PS4. If I were to speculate, I'd say dropping the frame rate to 30 FPS and the visual quality significantly could get Demon's Souls to run on PS4. Of course, you shouldn't get your hopes up until more concrete information emerges. I wonder if we'll see any fanboys getting pissed over this. It's supposed to be a PS5 exclusive. Damn it.
I'm just about to say all the news today would have pissed off someone. Like, if you had a foot in both camps, you'd probably just explode after the kind of news that we're giving you today. But again, it's what it is. Like, I don't think it's as difficult as everyone make out to be. We've mentioned this, I think, now for the last 2 weeks. Like, if you're making a game for a PlayStation 5, it's out, it's fully working. You are happy with the product. I don't think it's going to take that much work for them to be able to scale it down for you. And I know that's like all encompassing. Just fucking do it. Just release it. It won't take you very long. That's someone who has no idea how long it takes to develop a game. Making the textures and everything a little bit smaller.
I think it's probably a good 7 or 8 minutes, easy, maybe.
Yeah, easy. I mean, it's half a day's job, isn't it?
Yeah.
Making the resolution smaller, making the texture smaller, making it the frame rate potentially go from, I don't know, 60 to 30 to be able to play it on your PlayStation 4. Whatever you need to do to try and make it playable. You've already got the game on the PlayStation 5. What's wrong with releasing it on a different console? Like, it's still in the same family. It's just giving a new audience to be able to play it.
Yeah.
This is going to piss somebody off.
Yeah.
Because they think that they're being robbed, even though you already have it.
So, I mean, I have my experience, but You're making it so other people can have it too. Fuck you. No, this is for me and me alone. I am a gamer that I paid for the game. Nobody else should be. Yeah, fuck off. Fuck off. So yeah. Demon Souls could be coming to the PS4. No information other than potential, like putting 2 and 2 together, maybe getting 5, but we'll keep you updated if that does change. But yeah, do you know, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. They've realised that, and the thing is as well, is new technology and developing for new technology, you learn new techniques. I mean, anyone that's ever used Photoshop and isn't a Photoshop expert, you will find out in trying to make a background transparent or whatever, you'll find new ways of doing things and different ways that you can do stuff. And then suddenly you, oh, this is pretty cool. And then people that have used Photoshop will find it the same, but at a much more advanced level. Same with developers. We saw when the PS4 games came, when PS4 games came out, they had long loading times. When the PS5 came out and they were developing for that, they realized that they can strip out a shitload of loading time for the PS4. Similarly, when making games for the PS5 that are just on the PS5, they'll realize that actually, now we've actually looked at it a bit closely and been doing this for 12, 16 months, 24 months, we can actually do that quite easily and shift that back to the other consoles. So yeah, new games, more systems, everyone. I'm pissed off, but I don't know why. Sums it up, says Mr. T. Because it was sold as this huge PS5 game, but they're making more and more reasons to not need a PS5 just yet. Strongly disagree. I agree. I agree with the disagreement. It wasn't sold as a huge PS5 game in that sort of sense. It was sold as, this is what the PS5 can bring you. We can now do this. PS5 unlocks potential experiences. And time unlocks experiences as well. So by doing everything with the PS5, they've been able to backwards reverse engineer that so that they can go, okay, well, it's not going to be the PS5, but we can give you something that kind of mirrors that experience. I love Demon's Souls. The PS5 looks incredible, but again, Sony's weird in saying these next gen titles. If you have a PS5, you have the game and played it at its best. So what if it comes to PS4? Exactly.
I fully agree with that. By the time this comes out, it probably would have been out for a year. I know, but more people I had the opportunity to be able to play Resident Evil 5 Village either on a PlayStation 5 or on a PlayStation 4. Obviously, I've got a PlayStation 5, so I've got the opportunity to be able to play it on that. If I didn't have a PlayStation 5, I'd just have to play it on a PlayStation 4, but it still would have been playable on a PlayStation 5. If I had the PlayStation 4 disc, it just probably wouldn't have looked as pretty because I wouldn't have had the free upgrade. But I don't see the problem in that. It was made specifically for the PlayStation 5. It's reached its audience. It's been out for a year. You're able to play it on your PlayStation 4. I will never understand how gamers feel so entitled. Like, we genuinely, on Twitter and the video game community are two of the most toxic places. They are the most self-entitled sets of fan bases that there is in the world, and that's coming from someone who has a foot in both camps. I'm at football Twitter. I'm in the video games community. Like, I don't understand why we feel so entitled to it. It was sold as a PlayStation 5 exclusive. You've had your run with it. Now it's able to be. If you had a PlayStation 4 and you want the PlayStation 5 version when you get one, you probably might. It may end up even becoming a free upgrade one, but you may just buy it again. That's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't understand the self-entitlement.
I was trying to think
Genuinely,
of some sort of analogy, but it's probably heavily flawed because I've not fully fleshed it out in my mind. But like, let's say Bibby's got a Fiat and he's looking at getting a new car. And I was like, do you know what? Your Fiat's pretty decent, though. It still runs and everything. But do you know what? If you get a Ferrari, I've got a super fucking souped up engine convertery jobby thing, and your Ferrari will be fucking wonderful. The experience you're going to have in that Ferrari is going to be exceptional. Bibby gets all excited, goes out and buys his Ferrari, and then I put his engine convertery jobby in. He has the best time of his life, and then I'm like, actually, just realised, now you've done that, and while you've been doing it, I've been thinking about it. I could actually put that in your Fiat as well. Bibby's not going to go, oh, well, fuck that. I mean, he still had a Ferrari. He still enjoyed the Ferrari. It doesn't kind of make that a moot point at all. It's irrelevant whether it goes in the Ferrari or the Fiat. Everyone can enjoy it. So yeah, if you want the Ferrari experience, then fill your boot, step out and get it. Spot on that analogy. Yeah, there's
games for everyone.
There's probably ways you can pull it apart. I don't know. I didn't really think about it too much I just kind of like let my mouth go and hoped it sounded okay as I went with it. So yeah, we'll stick with it. Anyway, while we're on the subject of generations, Let's talk about the downside of generations. It's not the downside of generations. What it is progression, which is a shame. Sometimes the
1
world
minute.
moves
Don't
on.
move forward.
Oh,
I want to
okay.
read something first.
Go on then.
Jordan said it's not self-entitlement. It's people who want a PlayStation 5 only games for a next-gen console that utilizes the full power of the console. Hate the narrative that if someone has this opinion, they're all bellends. That makes no sense because you already have a game that uses the full power of the console. All they're doing is making the game that uses all the power of the PlayStation 4 console. No one is losing out here because the game has already come out for the console of choice. If you want to utilize the full power of the console, absolutely fine, buy the PlayStation 5 version. But all people are doing is getting a PlayStation 4 playable version of the game to play on their PlayStation 4. Is that not correct?
Yes.
You already have the ability to be able to play the game at its full potential. Why would people not want the ability to be able to play it on the PlayStation 4 with the full potential of that? That makes no sense. I'm not calling you a bellend. It's just using common sense.
Yeah, I mean, no one's saying that the game wouldn't use the PS5 to its full extent. That's the point, is the game uses the PS5 to its full extent, and everyone gets the full use of the PS5, but then you scrap some of it off. You get rid of some of it to make it go into the PS4. So using my Ferrari analogy, okay, Bibby can get all of the enjoyment of an engine that does better stuff, the upgraded stuff, but in a Ferrari, he's hitting 300 mile an hour. In his Fiat, is hitting 150 mile an hour. It's good, not as good, but it's still very good. But it's not a case of, well, the Fiat can only hit 150, so the Ferrari's only allowed to hit 150 as well. It's not hamstringing it or rubber banding it.
That's also like saying, okay, so the people who are playing Doom, Wolfenstein, The Witcher, Elder Scrolls, Skyrim on your Nintendo Switch, you shouldn't be allowed to play those though, because that potentially may have hindered what came out on the consoles before it. But now you guys are playing it on something that isn't as powerful. The field of view isn't as good. The resolution isn't as great. The textures aren't as good. It's exactly the same thing. You already have the ability to be able to play the games at its best potential on a completely different platform. All it is just giving anybody else who doesn't have that particular platform a way to be able to play the games at that platform's particular best specs. I will never understand the whole just because it's coming out on this, you shouldn't be able to play it elsewhere. I mean, it blows my mind.
I will say, playing devil's advocate, PlayStation did kind of set themselves up a little bit there by saying we believe in generations. So that has set off the narrative. However, I don't believe that they've gone against that because they believed in generations. They made a PS5 game, and then months later, we're talking about there potentially being a PS4 version. So that kind of is the generation there. So, okay, here's your PS5, and now we'll think about the PS4, which is basically PS4 users are getting what's the word? Sloppy seconds, leftovers.
Standard.
Yeah, exactly. So you get what comes after, and that is in essence another negative of being on a past generation. But you still get it, but you get the generational kind of thing here. Asim says also no one is a bellend. I mean, I won't go that far, mate. We love you, really. But yeah, anyway.
Games for everybody. Always.
Yeah, for sure. Where did we get to? That Bib has a Fiat and Graham is buying him a Ferrari. No, Bibby's got. I'm only joking. I was only saying that. I was pissing him off. We know he's Bibby 2 Lambos. He only goes for the Lambos, not the Ferraris. You know. So basically, NX wants the game only for the PS5 because he bought the PS5. Now it's just selfish, mate. But Demon's Souls uses the power of the console. That's the point. So for those who can't buy a PS5, they shouldn't be allowed to buy the same game. Asks Vish. Asim says on PS4, if it comes, it will be scaled down. It's like top end PC owners will say they only want games for them. No, I agree with that. That's it for me in that sort of sense. I understand that top end PC owners and bottom end PC owners are playing the same game. So I understand that a little bit more in terms of a PS4 and a PS5 owner technically are playing different SKUs, different games. So you can develop two different versions, where a PC version, you are kind of developing for both at once. So I understand that a little bit more, although I still don't necessarily believe you can just drop res on most games. Anyway, the narrative you seem to have done, NX, is that because you have a top tier gaming hardware, those with ones below you shouldn't be allowed to play it. Asim says top end PC owners will get the best out of them, but less PC owners will be able to play just at lower specs.
Yeah, that's what I have to do. Like, there's games that I'd love to be able to play on ultra and high, but I can't anymore. So it's either like low or medium. Obviously, I play a lot of old games anyway, so I could probably play 90% of those on high or ultra. But yeah, the newer games, I just don't have the ability to be able to do it, and I'm not just going to scream at everybody else who's able to play at those. I seen Stepbro yesterday post that he had a new 3070 arrive. Fantastic for him. He's able to play all the games that he wants at the very best. But I'm just not going to say, right, okay, so you get the brand new games. That means I can't play them. It just doesn't make any sense. Games for everybody is the way it should always be. If they have to create the games that are the best that they do, because they always scale down anyway. So there's going to be a PlayStation 5 version of a game. They'll start at the very top. They'll scale it back for the older generations. It's not going to last long. It'll probably last like another 2 years. Or it gets to a point where the PlayStation 5 is just so far in advance that it'll only be next gen. They won't even bother looking at it. But while we've got an overlap and games, you can't even get hold of a PlayStation 5 in most cases. Why not look after the other player base that's out there as well? That's helped make the PlayStation thrive as a brand for the last years. Well, if you take into consideration since the PlayStation 1, then it's a hell of a lot longer. But PlayStation 4 turned that tide from the PlayStation 3 and the elite Xbox 360. One of the shaggers went PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4. Do you know what I mean? That is the shaggers path to video game god.
PS1, PS2,
Ran over.
PS3. No, I went PS1, PS2, Xbox 360, PS3, PS4, Xbox One S. That's the true shagger. That's a true shagger. No, babe, you're not allowed to play the same game as me because you don't have a 3000 series. Games are only for me because I spent the money. Exactly, mate. Hey, Graham, what's in the box on the radiator? The box on the radiator is hiding the fact that I pulled some plaster/wallpaper off my wall yesterday. So it's actually
plaster/wallpaper.
It's actually a PUBG care package, and inside it has the same thing pretty much, but it's a diffuser, so it spits out like Albus infused water, like stuff into the air to make the room just nicer if you're a sweaty gamer. So that's what it is. But yes, but yeah, you can see the patch there that I pulled off yesterday by moving my Nano Leaf. There you go. It's where he keeps his dirty bogey-filled tissues. Actually, I mean, like you say, you're close. Yeah, it's not too far away. It's kind of in the same realm. It stops the bogies from being in the nose. That's what it is. So yeah, you're not too bad. That's what tissues do. Anyway, final article talking about generations. We were going to jump into this a second ago, but now we are. GTA Online will shut down in December. Well, it will for the PS3 and Xbox 360 users. I didn't even see the tagline. That is genius. Tom Phillips at Eurogamer has the article, and the tagline says, "Lost Santos." That is fucking amazing. GG's. The long-lived Grand Theft Auto Online will finally shut down its PS3 and Xbox 360 Xbox 360 servers on the 16th of December 2021. In a blog post, Rockstar said it had made the decision to shut the service for the last-gen consoles as it prepares to launch GTA Online for PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, the game's third console generation to date. Shark cash cards will no longer be sold for PS3 and Xbox 360 after the 15th of September. Grand Theft Auto 5 story mode will not be impacted. Rockstar abandoned adding new content to GTA Online for PS3 and Xbox 360 back in 2015 when it said it had reached the technical capacity of what those machines could handle, as well as the amount of data you could download to the hard drives of those machines. 16th of September will see stat tracking via Rockstar Games Social Club and multiplayer features for two other PS3 and Xbox 360 games go dark. That's Max Payne 3 and LA Noire. GTA Online first launched for PS3 and Xbox 360 on 1st of October 2013. It will arrive for PS5 and Xbox Series X and S on the 11th of November 2021. Shame to see it go, but 8 whole years of an online support for a generation. Is anyone surprised? Anyone particularly annoyed by this? What are your thoughts, Bib?
Yeah, 8 years is a hell of a long time to span over 3 different console generations. Unbelievable that it's still going. But he's still getting another year. Well, 6 months now, isn't it? So I think that would have ticked over to 9 years potentially by then. So, I mean, I think most people from the Xbox 360 would have moved over their characters. They're obviously doing this because the player base is getting smaller and smaller. With PlayStation, with Xboxes and PlayStation becoming more accessible. Maybe not your newer consoles, but price-wise, they're a lot more accessible. they would have these characters would have been ported over years ago. But yeah, it's kind of a non-story. But the GTA is still in the charts every single week. It's still mind blowing. Like there's nothing that's going to stop the steam from this game going, apart from when a new game gets released. That's the only time you're going to see this game come out the charts.
Yeah. As Vish says, kind of a non-story, really. I think everyone expected this to happen once the PS5 was announced. Yeah, massive game, massive on the PS4. Probably going to be massive on the PS5. And I'm saying that just because I've got the console there. Obviously, same applies to the Xbox generations too, naturally, and PC. But yeah, it's dead for PS3 and Xbox 360, or at least it's on its deathbed anyway. But you know, it's nice. It's been supported an extremely long period of time. Lake says, really didn't believe those were still on. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's good because it's a cost saving exercise as well, because to run those servers and to maintain those servers and do all of the updates and stuff, that's a lot of time, effort, money, and dev resources that are taken away from PS4 and PS5. And no doubt when PS5 and Xbox, well, actually, it's just PS5 for the first 3 months or something like that. When that launches, it's gonna be a shit show. It is gonna be a shit show, and I don't think that's anything that Rockstar could in a million years prepare for. Actually, the fact that it's a PlayStation exclusive for like 3 months is probably a good thing, because it gives Rockstar more of an opportunity to be able to stress test their servers, because they're only dealing with half of the user base. But yeah, getting rid of all of the legacy stuff to allow for that is probably a smart move, or at least in that same sort of time frame as well. So yeah, it's good. I mean, rip to PS3, Xbox 360. I didn't even put that. So yeah, rip to them, to the old systems, but long live the future. Tito says, God damn it, why do people keep calling me when I'm at work? It's like they want me to actually do some work. When are Jelly Media going to hire me so I can do some spreadsheets but mostly play games all day? I'm sorry, those positions are taken. Annoyingly, contrary to popular opinion, people at Jelly Media work extremely hard, and then there is me and Bib. So those two positions are taken, I'm afraid. Sorry. I mean, if you bump off Bib, we might have a vacancy at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah. I need Jelly to hire me so I can delegate everything to you, Tito. Well, that's also what I do. So there you go. We actually have a team here called TPS, so constant TPS reports from their games. What's TPS? I probably know what it is, but I don't know what it is. So tell me. There's so many.
Third-person shooter.
Is that what it is? Oh, okay, there you go. Two run palos. You're nice. I will. Yes. Okay. I'm next in line to take over. You goddamn right. How about a joint barista / stat monkey role? I will take that, but without the stat monkey, because there's enough stats rolling around. We got all the sheets. But on that bombshell, thank you everyone for joining us and offering to bump off Bibby and take his job. We appreciate comments like that all the time. Bibby, not so much. Me, all the time. I'm here for this. But yeah, we appreciate you being here. Thank you for joining us for yet another scoop. We do have one more. It is Thursday, right? Or is it Wednesday? I don't know what day we're on.
It is Thursday.
It's Thursday. Yeah, there we go. Back in the room. So we do have one more scoop this week. Tomorrow, we do Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. ish. The ish coming from the fact that we work in the video games industry at Jelly Media, which, funnily enough, we've been talking about. So we do video game stuff, and then around that, we do the streamy stuff. So the streamy stuff, as much as we enjoy it, and we know that we want to kind of put more effort in for you guys, so that you guys can get the enjoyment out of it, especially if you contribute by subbing to the channel. We want to make sure that you get some enjoyment out of it. We still have to put the jobs first, so that's why we have a 10 a.m. ish start to the day. Speaking of content, I will be jumping back on, so we'll finish up. I'll jump off and I'm going to jump on for some PUBG. So if you are a fan of Battle Royales, PUBG, and you're not doing anything, I mean, it is extremely sunny out there, so I wouldn't blame you if you do go out for a stroll. But if you're not and you want to keep out of the sun, then feel free to jump back and join me as we play some PUBG. It'd be fun. But that's about it. Before we disappear, before I jump on with PUBG, and before we come back tomorrow 10 o'clock-ish with the next scoop, is there anything that you'd like to add, Bib?
Yes, again, thank you very much for joining us today for the episode of Scoop. As Graham said, we've got one more episode tomorrow. So with that in mind, if you want to help shape that show, there's two ways that you can do that. First of all, find us on social media at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms, or get involved with our Discord. All the links that you need will be in the description below if you are watching us of any of our podcast services, or if you're in the chat. The Shagatito has already put the links in there for you, but all we need from you is a URL plus your thoughts and impressions. We will then give you our thoughts and impressions on the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham Day?
That's going to be at 10 a.m.
Ish.
10 a.m. ish. There's some issues in the chat. 10 a.m. ish. We will be live tomorrow with the next episode of The Scoop.
Shout out to Lake as well today for supplying the GTA article for us. That's one that I used. Absolute legend.
Thank you very much, Lake. We like it when you shape the show. Hashtag shape our show, says Asim in the chat. Thank you for shaping the show, Lake. We appreciate you. Won't catch you tomorrow, guys, so have a good weekend. You too, Gagad. Appreciate you. Thank you for
you too, mate.
So I will be jumping on with some PUBG. What's the afternoon looking like for Bib? Are you PUBG, and are you gonna get some golf for the first time in like a million weeks? Or is it too warm for that?
I don't know. No, I'm going to speak to my mate because he's on furlough this week. So I'm going to see if he's knocking about. If not, then I'm happy to jump back on with you.
Nice.
So I'm not playing golf this weekend at all. So today would be my only day if I do. But yeah, you'll find out in about 10 minutes.
Nice. Well, either me and Bib will be back, or just I will. Either way, we'll be back with some PUBG. Vish says, "Can I get a sponsorship from Jelly Media? I don't stream, but I just want free things and money." Of course you can. You can have a free distanced high five. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know what? When we're actually back in the office properly, I will dig something out of our cupboard of dreams. For those people that have been into the office or into the studio, we have obviously the full broadcast studio where we usually stream from, not our home setups. And then next to it, we have the cupboard of dreams, which has got stuff, items, merch, trophies, statues, everything from years and years and years back. So when people come in, we often go, "Yeah, we've got a present for you. There you go, fill your boots." So when we go back in, I'm going to find you
God
one of
knows what that cupboard looks like now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm going to find you the most random thing I can. I don't know when that will be, so it's probably not going to be anytime soon. But I will send you something completely random. So there you go.
Do you know what we need to do?
What's that?
We need to have another tournament of sorts that isn't Score for Cancer, where it's going to be just an event, but just get our friends in there so we can get people, like, obviously they can pay for the fucking self to get down there, you know what I mean? We're not wedged, but we can host a tournament in our gaff and get people down and just get our friends around us. It's been far too long, man. It would have been 2 years by the time we get back into the office that we've seen our friends inside the house.
Yeah, madness. So we'll do it. We'll do it. I don't know when that will be, but at some point in the future we'll do it. I'll hold you to that, says Vish. Where even is the Jelly Media offices? Just near Blackpool. So we're based in a place called Polton Le Fylde, which is near Blackpool. So
beautiful place.
It is. It's really nice. But yeah, that's it. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you being here. We'll see you in about 10-15 minutes-ish for some PUBG if you want to jump back in. We'll see you then. If not, we'll sod you then. Don't even care any. I'm not joking. I love you very much. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and remember to stay frosty.
Stay frosty.